Hi there, this is Lisa Coutu, and I'm here for our live Q&A for Communication Leadership Program. I'm one of the Associate Directors of the program, and I'm delighted to be here today to answer questions that you have. I have been on the university faculty for almost 20 years, and I've been part of the University of Washington for 25, so this is definitely my home in many ways, so I'm happy to answer questions as well about anything you have concerns about the university as a whole. Let's see. As you ask questions, please type them in the chat box that you can see on your screen. I will repeat the question and then expect a little delay, a brief delay between your question and my response. This is not totally in sync as far as the time goes. So I'll give you guys a couple seconds to think through some questions, and in the meantime, I'll talk to you a bit about my involvement with the program. As I said, I'm one of the associate directors of the program and part of a great team. We all really enjoy working together and working for you and making sure that this program is one that excites you and keeps you engaged. It's really a big part of what makes our lives here at the UW so wonderful. I teach a course in the ethnography of communication, and as you know, if you do some brief searching actually on the internet, or as you'll see, there is a huge move in the private sector to use ethnographic methods. And so what I do in my class is try to give my students a leg up by teaching them really careful and systematic ways to understand culture and communication in the workplace or in their communities, depending on where it is that they want to do their study. I have some awesome students this quarter doing really interesting work in tribal contexts, in second language learning schools, on online kinds of communities. So it's really exciting for me to see the various ways that students can take a topic that I introduce and really run with it and do something fun. I also work really closely with our faculty, and I'm really excited about the people that we bring in to teach our classes. As you might know, some of our faculty are from the Department of Communications regular professorial faculty, so that's basically what they do for a living. But many of our faculty come from outside. And so what they do, for instance, is work as content strategists at organizations in the city. And so they come and teach a content strategy class. Or they're interested in legal issues surrounding the use of some of the material that we might use online. And so what do? Well, their day jobs, they're partners in law firms. So we're really excited to bring these people into our community to teach you. It's important, of course, that they also be trained to teach. And what we do here in Comm Lead is work to create a community with among our faculty, and also talk to them about what's good teaching look like, and how can you tell that you're doing a good job, and how can your students tell that you're doing a good job. So a lot of that is really the stuff that gets me excited. I see now that a few of you are tuned in. Welcome. Really happy to have you here. If you missed my little intro, my name is Lisa Coutu, and I'm one of the Associate Directors of the Communication Leadership Program. If you have a question, please feel free to just type it into the chat box that you see on your screen, and I'll happily answer it. You'll experience a little bit of a delay between your question and my answer, but trust me, I'm on my way. I will answer the question, and you'll see my answer pop up soon. Don't be shy. Please do feel free to ask anything. I'm here to help you out. Well, while you are thinking, I'll just talk a little bit more about our faculty. One of the things that I think is really exciting about our faculty is how into teaching they are, even though for most of them it's not their normal full-time job. One of the ways that we really promote teaching in the university setting here is to talk about the ways in which the things that we want students to learn in the class are connected to the things that you actually do in the class on a day-to-day basis, as well as the final projects that you create. And so we have this nice cumulative learning experience throughout the quarter. We know that you bring important information, important experience into our classrooms. And what we want to do is make sure that there's a wonderful overlap between what you bring in, what the faculty bring in, and then the new content that you're going to be exposed to. So it's really exciting for us to see that kind of alignment between your experience and the experience of our faculty. Well, we have our first question, and the question is, can I talk a little bit about the differences between the MCDM and the MCCN? This obviously is an important question for most people who are thinking about applying to the program. These are two tracks, and we really think about them as complementary tracks. So they are in many ways two sides of the same coin. What we're really interested in our program is helping students harness the power of all of the communication channels that we have in our world to build better communities, to build better social worlds. And so the MCDM, the Masters of Communication and Digital Media, focuses primarily, although not exclusively, on some of those channels and optimizing the use of those channels, whereas the MCCN, the Masters of Communication and Communities and Networks, focuses more on how it is we can build connections between people. But these are not mutually exclusive things. For instance, the mastery of how to use those kinds of channels is helpful and significant in building communities. And one of the ways we build communities is to learn how to harness those channels. We think of these programs, like I said, as separate, but also as extremely intertwined. And so our cohort every year takes its two core courses together. We also have some track neutral classes, particularly our course in business fundamentals. And we also are beginning to offer some 2 and 3 credit courses that are track neutral, so that students can have an opportunity to kind of dabble in some middle ground courses. In addition, you can also take a course outside of your track, so there you have an opportunity to do something different. Oh, there's a great question up right now about admissions, and the question is, could you tell us about the requirements for the personal statement and any suggestions on writing it? Absolutely. So here are the instructions. This is the prompt that you'll see when you look at your application. I'm going to read it from my screen. In 500 words or fewer, explain first how the MCDM or MCCN degree will specifically help you advance toward your professional goals. And second, why you're a good match for the program. We value clear, well-organized, carefully argued writing, and your letter thus also serves as your writing sample. So first of all, we want you to know that there's no hidden agenda here. What we're asking for is actually exactly what we want. We want to know what it is about the program that you see as useful to you. So are there particular courses? Are there particular examples of student work that you saw and you thought, gosh, if I just could do that kind of thing, that would make my goals more attainable. So we want you to have a sense for and be able to articulate where you want to go and how this program is going to help you get there. So both of those things, where you want to go and how the program will help you get there. And then, why are you a good match for this program? What skills or interests or experiences do you bring to the program that make you a good fit? We're really interested in developing a strong cohort that works well together, that offers unique things to the community. And so what is it that makes you a good match? Don't ignore the last sentence, the part that we value clear, well-organized, carefully argued writing. One of the big things you're going to have to do in this program is write. And so we want this to be our first view into how well you can articulate your thoughts. 500 words or fewer is not a very long essay. And so take that opportunity to really say, here is what I think is most important about me. Make your argument, make it crisp, and just tell us why you're interested and why you're good. I hope that answers your question, and if it doesn't, or if it only answers it partially, please let me know. Oh, there's another question. Hi, Lisa. Well, hello, Ariella. What would you say made students most successful in the program? Well, I think we have a really wide range of students, and so part of that is dependent on what it is that you want out of the program, and what you bring to it. But let me see if I can give you some overall ideas. First, I think that being ready to engage as a graduate student is the most important first piece that you have to have. So getting your mind sort of in the notion of, okay, I am a grad student, I'm here to do graduate level work, I'm excited to do graduate level work, and what does that mean? Well, for us, what that means is you're going to have more autonomy than you're used to, so you'll be working on your own. You'll also have opportunities for collaborative work where you are responsible for a group product, but that you really need to work well with others in order to complete it. But you also have individual things to do to contribute to that group. Another thing, or second thing, that being prepared to be a graduate student means is to think about what you read and what you write in different ways than you might have before. So to be highly engaged in understanding reading and thinking about how it connects to your own experiences and how it connects to things you might want to do later. So the first piece is be prepared to be a graduate student. I think the second thing that makes our students particularly successful is being willing to risk failure. And what I mean by that is not failing like a course, but what I mean by that is trying new things. Really saying, I am in this graduate program to do a good job, to stretch myself, to think beyond the boundaries of what I've normally been thinking. And so those students that say, I'm going to push myself beyond my comfort zone, I think risk failure, but in the most positive way that you ever could. And so those students, I think, are extremely successful in our program. So I guess those would be the two biggest overarching things that I would say would make students most successful. And I think the rest of it is all about what you want to get out of it, and then how do you work toward being successful in that, and how do we help you do that? Because that's what we want to do. We want to help you be successful in what you want to do. I hope that's responsive to your question. And again, if it's not, don't be shy about asking me a follow-up. I'm happy to say more. Oh, there's another question. So the question is, what classes do you teach and what's your teaching approach? And also, what's the typical class size in the program? I mentioned in my brief intro that I teach a course in the ethnography of communication, and my approach is really to get students engaged with the material in a really hands-on way. So I want people to learn the material at a theoretical level, right? Because you have to have that real grasp. And then be able to take that material and apply it to a new setting. So everything that I do in my classroom, I want students to be able to use. And I love it. Like for me, the most rewarding thing is when a student comes back and says, oh my gosh, I just learned this thing in class the other night and I went to work and I realized it was applicable. Like I noticed something in my work that was different than what I would have noticed without this. That's the only class that I teach in our program right now. But again, we have a wide range of classes. The class size varies pretty significantly in the sense that if it's a production class, the numbers are going to be pretty low. And if it's a brand new class, it might not have a ton of students in it. What do I mean by really low or not a ton? Our classes cap out at 20, so that's the biggest class that you'll be in. Occasionally, an instructor might allow one extra person in, but that's the exception rather than the rule. A new class might have fewer students. The class I'm teaching this quarter only has 7 students, so it varies significantly. You're also always welcome to do an independent study. That's totally, it's actually a great opportunity to dive deeply into something that you want to do yourself. So I think that's really important. I hope that that's helpful as far as what classes we teach and how they max out. Again, feel free to ask me a follow-up. I'm hanging out. Okay, there's another question, and I just put my hands awkwardly up there. Okay, so the question is, does this program allow you the time to also have an internship? Yeah, we actually really encourage our students to do internships. So there might be some project that you want to do here as part of your coursework. You can do an internship as part of the program. And so there are actually, let me see here, I'm just looking at our information. Give me a second. So we have, sorry, I'm looking at my other screen so that I make sure that I give you my the totally right information. So there's actually a link that I will put here for you about our internships, so that you can see what it's all about. But if you go to commlead.uw.edu/develop-your-skills, you'll see that there is a list of the kinds of internships that we provide. So you can do an in-house internship with our blog, which is the Flip the Media blog. You can also look for something yourself. We've connected students using our network here in the city to places like Facebook and NBC. We also have had students travel abroad to do internships as part of their graduate research with a faculty member. So certainly internships are available and encouraged. Once you get into the program, we could give you a lot more detail, but if you're interested in doing that now, check out the student handbook, which is on our website, and you can see there exactly how it works into our program. I hope that's responsive. I know it's not as detail-oriented or as detailed as some of my other answers, but I can get more information if you would like. Thanks, Melody. There's another, oh, hi, Ariella. Okay, let's see. Ariella asks, in regards to the video portion of the application, can we get a little creative with editing and visuals, or would you prefer just 90 seconds of seeing and hearing us speak? That's a really good question. Thanks for asking it. We really want you to have the opportunity to speak to us. And it's not that we don't love creativity, because we do, and we'll certainly allow lots of opportunities for you to be creative in the program. But because we don't do interviews, this is really our chance to hear you talk about you. And we're interested in hearing your story articulated as much as possible. Of course, if you would like to have some backgrounds kind of stuff going on, do that. Feel free to also show us your creative side, but we'd like the majority of it to be all about you speaking. It's only 90 seconds or fewer, so it's just a quick insight moment for us into who you are. So please do just mostly tell us your story. All right. Well, there's nobody online yet. Nobody in line with questions. So feel free to post something if you would like. I'm here. I feel like I'm a call-in radio show right now. Although if I were radio, you wouldn't see me drinking my coffee. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the UW while you're thinking. So the University of Washington, for those of you who may not know, is situated in Seattle, Washington. It's a beautiful place. It's also ranked very high on lots of international scales for entrepreneurial output, for its libraries, for its research grants. It's quite a thriving place, and the beauty of a place like this is that there are tons of resources for you to do what you want to do. And so there's really a nice opportunity for you to take advantage not only of the communication program, but also a communication program and the communication leadership program, but also the university at large. It's a thriving place, and I haven't gotten bored here in 25 years, and it's because there's always something new to explore. Oh, great, there's another question. Let's see. Are most of the students working while studying? You know, it really varies. We have some students who are full-time working professionals. We have other students who are coming to school full-time. Some of our students, particularly some students who study abroad, have some restrictions on their working ability, so that's an issue there. But in general, we have a real mix of people. And let me give you sort of an example. So in my class that I'm teaching right now, I have one woman who works full-time in PR for a community. I have another person who works in community relations or communications for the university. I have a third person who also does sort of coordinates and does communication infrastructure for an international group. And then I have 4 students who don't work but go to school full-time. All of our classes meet in the evenings or on Saturdays. And so regardless of whether you're a full-time student or you are working full-time and then going to school, the courses are structured so that you can actually go to class, take advantage of them at times that are usually free. So it's a real mix. And I think that's one of the actual kind of strengths of the program, is that you end up engaging with people who might be really early in their career, and so not working, taking this time to kind of give themselves an opportunity to gain some more skills. You might have people who are taking a hiatus from their career to build their skills, or you might have people who are mid or late career and are also trying to gain some other pieces for their portfolio, but at the same time they are working full-time in some kind of industry. And so we have a really nice mix of the kinds of people who we engage with and who you get to engage with while you're here. Oh, this is a great question. And remember, there is a slight delay between when you type your question and I see it. So, if you're new to Seattle, is it easy to network within the program or get connected to Seattle companies that are hiring? Well, the first piece, is it easy to network within the program, I would give an emphatic yes to. First of all, you take your courses with your cohort, and we really like that. We like to have our students have the opportunity to connect with each other and get to know each other as a group. This is going to be sort of your community for the time that you're here, and it's really important to us that you get to know each other. But we also have lots of other moments where you can connect with other people who are either in the program or have been in the program. One of those is also an opportunity to connect with people in industry and organizations. So organizations within the city host what we call First Fridays. We've had those at places like Facebook, for instance, where they host an evening for our students to come and learn about the company, but more importantly, to network with alumni and friends of the program. And so there's one opportunity there to explore connections beyond simply the people that you're in a cohort with. Another way that we do this is we have a group of fellows, of alumni fellows, who come back and help our students gain skills that they might need in order to succeed in a class. And so that group is a nice connection between the older, more veteran students, and the newer students. We also have a really broad network of connections to organizations and industry throughout the city. Most of our instructors come from town, from working somewhere in town, and we also have fostered relationships with organizations to hopefully connect our students to internships, projects, even just opportunities to learn more. So absolutely, it's really a moment where, I'm sorry, I just got distracted. Absolutely, you can connect both within the program to other students easily, and also we work really hard to make connections with you, with companies. There's another question. It looks like it's coming all the way from Maine, the other coast of our lovely place called the country. Okay, what do you like about teaching grad students at UW? Well, there are lots of different kinds of grad students at UW, and the Comm Lead students are a particularly interesting group of people. I like the range of people that come to the program, so that as a teacher, I'm always being challenged to think about how I might help a student connect to the material. So if you're a brand new Comm Lead student, fresh out of undergraduate, your moment of, or point of entry into the material is going to be really different than somebody who maybe has been working in an organization for 20 years. And so I love the opportunities to try to help students see where they intersect with the material. And even if they don't see it like right in that moment, that it's hard for them, then we work really hard to say, well, how might this work for you? Where might you make a connection? The other thing that I really like about working with the Comm Lead students is that they tend to be all in, right? This is not a program that people come to if they don't have clear goals and a clear notion of what they want to accomplish. And so generally our students are really goal-driven, and I love the opportunity to be able to help them take steps toward their goals. And so it's a creative group of people with a wide range of experiences and sometimes some really different notions of what they want to get out of the program. So it's a really wonderful opportunity as a teacher to be able to help students get from where they are to where they want to be. And I mean that both also not only on the teaching them in the classroom context, but also as one of the associate directors of the program to help think about how we can craft a curriculum that is responsive to the changes in our world and the changes in our student body. So thanks, that was a great question. Okay, I'm still here. If you need any more information about the program, let's see if I can seed some of those. Well, here's something that I think is really important is what types of careers do our graduates have? I think that's a really important question to ask. I think sometimes people come into a graduate program and don't know exactly what they might do. Some of our students end up being social media strategists or community managers. They work for a range of companies, so I tend to talk about organizations or industry, but we have people in places ranging from Amazon to World Vision to entrepreneurs who work in filmmaking or photography. So there's really, again, a broad range of types of positions and also types of organizations that our students end up in. And I think, again, that's all about what works for the student and how can we help the student get what they want. Oh, there's another question. Can you talk a little about how you craft curriculum? One of the things so first we have the 2 tracks. This is a really good question. And I and Anita Verna Cross, who is another associate director, work closely with the curriculum. What we want to do is keep an eye on what kinds of new technologies or communication channels are emerging, and how those are being used in the world around us, so that we can make sure that our students are offered courses that are cutting edge. Our curriculum is ever changing. It's ever changing in response to two things. What do our students want? What kinds of information, what kinds of skills, what do they need in that area? And also, what do we see happening in the world? So we try to stay a little bit ahead of what is going on in the world so that we can offer our students what is on the edge rather than what they see maybe as central in the moment that they start taking the program. That also works in the reverse, and what I mean by that, let me give you an example. We used to have a course in mobile, but it came to be pretty clear after a while that mobile isn't something that we should have a course in. Mobile should be a part of everything. And so we both look forward and ahead to creating courses, and we look backward in the sense of revising courses that at one moment in time were cutting edge, but at a new moment in time are really have become kind of the fabric of our existence, part of the context that we live in every day. So we look at that big picture, kind of what's going on in the world, and then we create a curriculum that is balanced between the MCDM and the MCCN. The MCDM is generally a larger cohort than the MCCN, so you take both groups take the cohort required courses together, but then they have different tracks as far as the electives go. And so generally there are more electives in the MCDM than the MCCN, simply because of the size of the groups. But we create curriculum for the entire year, so we created a year ahead, so that for both tracks, so you can see what's coming up from the summer to the following spring, and plan your schedule. Sometimes we'll have new things come into the curriculum as the year progresses. And again, if a need emerges, we try to fill it. We try to make sure that we are offering things in a really time-sensitive way. But in general, you can make some plans for how your year is going to be laid out based on the curriculum that's posted yearly. Great question. Thanks a lot. So, one of the big changes that we have to our application this year, which I think might be helpful for you to know about, is that we no longer require the GRE. We were requiring it, but we realized that it really didn't afford us the kind of insight that we needed into what our students are doing or what our prospective students might do. And so we no longer require that, and I think that is actually, we're hoping that what it does is open the door to more students to apply, because it removes an impediment to the process. Okay, another question. What kind of projects do Comm Lead students come up with? Does each class require one? And do you have to have prior video editing skills to create successful ones? Wow. Okay, there's a few questions there. Let me answer them each in turn. What kind of projects do Comm Lead students come up with? Well, it's a huge range, and it certainly changes a lot from class to class. But we just had our weekly staff meeting, and one of the things that was so impressive is even in the first quarter, the kinds of projects that our students came up with for their class final project. Things from developing apps to creating videos. Some people do much more sort of academic kinds of writing, or do independent research. So it's a range of projects, and they're all very class dependent. So what is it that class is about, and then how is it that you can adapt that class to something that you're really interested in? Does each class require a project is the second part of that question. Each class is going to require probably some kind of project. It's really instructor and class specific, but you're going to have to create something. And that's the beauty of this, right? That you have an opportunity with each class to do something exciting that you're really interested in. And that's in the form of a project of some sort. That can be something like a business plan, or it could be a video project, or it could be a story, or a research project, or an app. It's really going to depend on what is it that you want to do that connects in some way to the material. And the last part of that question was, do you have to have prior video editing skills to create successful projects? No. For the majority of our classes, you do not need to have any prior knowledge about how to do these things. We do how to do video. We do have our faculty fellows who are super helpful in helping students gain the skills that they need to create video. There are some classes that are specifically about video production that have some requirements that you have to have some basic skills, for instance, before you can take the advanced class. But that's all clearly articulated in the curriculum, and so you would see that as you look at the courses. We try not only to give you kind of skills and opportunities to learn new things while you're in classes, but also the opportunity to learn new things outside of the class that you can then bring to the class. And video skills are a really good example of things you can learn outside the class, either on your own or with some help from our faculty, our alumni fellows, and then really be successful in the class itself, creating some kind of video. Okay, there's another question. If you could go through the program, which elective courses would you choose? Oh, this is such a great question, Ariella, because I'm actually going to beg, borrow, and plead my way into a class at some point here. So I would say that I think that I'm hoping that this models a little bit the kind of approach I think students ideally have, which is setting yourself up for a possible failure. I really want to take some video producing classes. There's a class in the summer that is an intensive class, storytelling class, and I would love to take that class because I know nothing, in all honesty, about developing video. And so videos and stories and how to make that all work. I understand stories from a cultural perspective, but not from that perspective. And so I would love to take that intensive storytelling class that's offered in the summer. And then if I actually succeeded, and by succeeded I don't mean like get an A, I mean feel like I got some real skills out of that, it would be amazing to take the more advanced classes after that. I guess the other class that I would really like to take is the law class that is offered by our instructor, Craig Baker. He's a super smart guy. He teaches in a way that is not exactly like I teach. I tend to be really discussion-based and interactive, and I think I could learn a lot from him. He does lots of lecture, and his students love it. And so I would love to be able to experience that kind of expert lecturing and maybe steal some of that skill set from my own classes. Thanks for asking. I've thought a lot about wanting to just sort of dive into some of the classes that we offer students because they're pretty awesome. So, Ariella, a follow-up question. I'm thinking of coming in around March to sit in on a class if possible. Is there one which you would recommend? Oh, that's a great question. Let me just take a look at what's being offered in the winter. I wish I was going. I'm not going to be here. I'll be teaching in Rome. But I guess one of the classes that I think would be really great for you to sit in on is Scott Macklin's class. He is teaching one of the second of the two introductory core classes, and so that'd be a nice way for you to see how it is that the cohort system works. How what does that look like? What does the intro class feel like? So I think that would be a great place for you to hang out. Let me see what else is being offered and let you know. if you look at the curriculum page on our website, you can see all of the courses that are being offered. Partly it depends on what you're interested in, and I would choose a course based on that if I were you. So we have a course in advocacy, in visual communication, in social spaces and technology tools, in community and media making, and UX strategies. Really, there's a huge range of classes for the winter. So if it's early-ish winter, if it's early-ish March, you'll be here in winter quarter, and I would really encourage you to look at the curriculum page and pick something that looks interesting to you. I have no doubt that whatever class you decided on, you would get something out of. And then if you come in the latter part of March, then we'll be into spring quarter, and so check out what's being offered in spring. And again, same litmus test for me. What's interesting, and then choose that. You can't go wrong. See what else. Oh, one thing that I did not mention is about our career workshops. So we actually have on retainer a really wonderful resource for you. Her name is Angie Lindsay, and she runs some career workshops. And I think that this is particularly useful for people who are coming in and out of, who are either starting a new career or are starting a career at all. Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty. So our career workshops with Angie Lindsay are really helpful in helping students figure out what is it that I can do with this degree that I am working on. What courses, how do these courses help me figure out how to position myself for my next professional opportunity. And then if you go to these workshops, you also can get some free one-on-one time with them. So it's really awesome. Okay. Oh, another questioner says, "Oh, that's a really good idea, Ariella. Is there anything we'd have to do in advance to sit in our class, or just show up?" Oh, that's a super good question. If you want to come to a class, you should get in touch with our graduate program administrator, who is Heather Workle, and ask her what classes are available on the nights that you want to come in. And then she'll let the instructor know that you might be coming. And we're all super open to having people come into our classes, but it's also nice just to get a little bit of a heads up that we might have a visitor. So again, just let Heather Workle know, and she'll let us know that you might be coming by, and we'll be happy to have you. Thanks for that great follow-up question. One of the questions that people often ask is whether the Comm Lead students have access to all of the University of Washington services, since this is a fee-based program. And especially since I just sang the praises of UW so loudly, let me just emphasize to you that you do have the access to all of the resources here. So we have a career center, and we have fabulous libraries. And notice I said libraries plural. So there are general libraries, but there are also specialty libraries that are amazing. And so all of the resources that are here, you are totally entitled to use. And really, it's an amazing thing to have access to the kinds of opportunities that the UW offers overall. Okay, so what counts as full-time in the program, and how long might it take you to finish? Well, 2 classes is full-time. So we expect that at most students will be taking 10 credits at a time. To complete the degree, you need to earn 45 credits, which is about nine classes. That includes the 2 introductory classes. And also 2 other core requirements. You need to take a research methods class, which my class is, and a law and ethics course. Then you can add electives after that. When I say after that, I don't mean time-wise, I just mean in addition to those things. You can take up to 10 credits outside of your degree emphasis, and 5 of those credits can be outside of the communication leadership program. So for instance, if there's a course in another program that you'd really like to take, we will help you work with the instructor of that course to see if we can get you a space in it. If you take a full-time load, so 10 credits or 2 classes per quarter, you can finish in 5 quarters, which is really fast. Part-time students usually take about 5 credits per quarter, and they finish in 2 to 3 years. So really, it's about what works best with your schedule and what works best with your schedule and what works best with your life. Oh, this is another really good question from Ariella about the student mix. So what is the mix of the student body? Is it fairly domestic or international? Well, we have a pretty wide, like I said before, a pretty wide range of students, and we have a bit of a balance between international students and domestic students. Right now, our international students make up about 30% of our student population, and we have students here from 8 different countries and 3 continents. So we're really happy about the diversity of places from which students come to study with us. Another way to think about our students too, another piece of information that might be helpful is about 60% of our student population attends part-time and 40% full-time. And so again, if you're in either one of those camps, you can see that you'll fit right in, right? So we have a nice mix there as well. So we're really happy with the broad range of people that come to work with us, and we're looking forward to seeing what this year's application pool brings as well. Thanks for asking the question. See if there's anything that I think you should have asked that you haven't. Oh, here's another question. What's your biggest piece of advice for incoming students? Well, I think my biggest piece of advice goes back to something that I said earlier in our conversation about what makes a student successful or what makes students most successful. And that is coming in with a graduate student's frame of mind. So to think about what does it mean to be either back in school after being away for a while, or to be continuing school, but to be doing it in a different way. So maybe you've been an undergraduate and you're moving into graduate work. So that would be the biggest piece of advice. It would be to come with a graduate student frame of mind. And what I mean by that is be prepared to take risks, be prepared to engage fully in whatever it is that instructors ask you to do as far as reading and participating in the class. And the other piece of that, which I referenced earlier when Ariella asked me what class I would take, is don't be afraid to risk failure by trying something new, by trying something that is way outside your comfort zone. I think that's where students really learn the most and grow the most. And so, and that for me is a big part of being a graduate student, living on the edge of your comfort zone. Thanks, that was a great question. For people who might want to learn more about the kind of work we do, but that aren't necessarily ready to dive completely into a graduate program, we also do have an online certificate, and our online certificate is called the Storytelling and Content Strategy Certificate Program. It's connected with our program. It was created by our director and also one of our faculty, and so it consists of three classes: content creation, content strategy, and content science. And those three things, the idea of creation, sort of production, and analysis, those are things that we really, you will see sort of threaded throughout all of our courses in the larger program. But if you're thinking that maybe you don't want to commit to a full graduate program, like the certificate program, which is all online, might also be something that would be useful for you. You can find out more information from that by going to the commlead.uw.edu/certificate site, and you'll see there that all the information about how to enroll and what the courses are. If you have any questions, also don't ever hesitate to let us know. Another question: does Comm Lead have a strong alumni network? We have a huge and very strong alumni network. We have, as I said, we have people here from all over the world, and as students, and we have had people from all over the world here as students. Our network is far-reaching. We have obviously our local network is the strongest. We work really hard to nurture that network. We have wonderful relationships with some of the largest employers in the Seattle area, and also with some more community-oriented spaces. And so we have connections with places like Facebook and Expedia, but also in places like the police department. And so really a wide range of types of connections. We invite alumni to be involved with the program through things like our alumni fellows, and also through things like our First Fridays. So not only do we have a strong alumni network, but we really want to connect you with that network. One of the things that I like most about our program is how much our alumni like us. And so at the risk of sounding, lovable, we kind of are. And our alumni have had good experiences in our program, and they want to help you have a good experience in our program. And so they really try to work with our students as much as they can to help them have a good experience here and beyond, outside in their work lives. So yes, our alumni network is strong and vibrant, and one of, I think, the best parts of our program. Thanks for that question. We have only a couple of minutes left before I sign off and wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. So please do feel free to get in any last minute questions. Well, I have a few thank yous for all my answers, and you're all very welcome. I also have one final question up, which is, if I think of a question later, who can I ask? Great question. A few people. You can email any of us who are on the leadership team. We are absolutely happy to talk with you. You can also email Heather Werkel, who is the graduate program administrator. You can find all of our email addresses on our website, which will be posted. So, yeah, there's absolutely, anytime you have a question, don't hesitate to ask any of us. We love our program, happy to talk about it. And the last question is, are these recorded for us if we miss a session? Ariella, they will be available. So we had, our first one was last week, and we will have these sessions every Wednesday from 12 to 1. So here's another place where you can ask all the questions that you want if you think of them later. But they will be available coming soon to the Comm Lead website near you. So I'm not exactly sure what the URL will be yet for the recordings, but we will have them posted. It will be obvious on our website. But there's only one other one, and it's not yet up. So thank you all very much for being so engaged, and I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.